Oh my God, what a stupendous performance. Thank you so much, Arun. This is Arun Sehgal. Can everybody hear me? Good. So this is Arun Sehgal, all the way from San Francisco Bay Area. I'm so thankful to you, Arun, for getting up so early in the morning. You're 3 hours behind us. And he is, can you believe he's like a prodigy at such a young age? He's a conductor of the San Francisco Civic Symphony Orchestra. And, I'm so glad that he agreed to do this for us. It's such an auspicious way to begin such an important program that's connected with Gandhiji. So thank you so much, Aaron.
Thank you for having me today. What an honor.
Very good. So now I would like to turn this over to a moderator, Ms. Khushi Nigam. She's coming to us all the way from Delhi, India, and she is the leader of the Global Youth Researchers Group that does work on Gandhiji's message. So she's going to act as our moderator. So Khushi, welcome and thank you for doing this, and take over.
Thank you so much. Good morning to everyone and a very warm namaste from India. I would like to welcome all the participants to today's very special event hosted by the Parliament of World Religions. It is a pleasure to be a co-host for this very prestigious webinar. As a reminder, I'd like to inform that this meeting is being recorded, and I kindly request the participants to keep their microphones switched off. And in case you have any questions or any comments, I encourage you to write them in the chat box so that we may respond to them once the event is finished. Today, amongst different eminent figures, we have the pleasure of having Ms. Kumudini Gupta as the co-host of the program. Ms. Gupta comes from a royal family and has spent over 2 decades helping communities globally and within the US, volunteering her time for helping the victims of domestic violence, rescuing children from child labor, and she has also worked with the Nobel Peace Laureate Kailash Satyarthi. She also works with the Global Peace Initiative at the Gandhi Smriti, which is part of the Ministry of Culture in New Delhi, where Mahatma Gandhi spent his final 144 days. Ms. Gupta has been appointed to the Mayor's Commission on Women and Human Rights, Mayor's Annual Interfaith Prayer Breakfast Steering Committee, Advisory Boards of State AAPI Commission, and Congressman Keating's Women's Board due to her dedicated volunteer service. She is also the recipient of President's Council on Fitness, Sports and Nutrition Community Leadership Award for serving as a member of the President's Challenge Program of President's Council on Fitness, Sports and Nutrition. She has also won the President's Volunteer Service Award Lifetime Achievement, both of them under President Obama. She was also nominated for President's Citizen Medal for helping the victims of domestic violence. It's a pleasure to be co-hosting with you, ma'am. And along with Ms. Gupta, we also have another eminent figure amongst us, Dr. Joy J. Burnham. Welcome, Dr. Burnham. Dr. Burnham is the director of the Office of International Programs in the College of Education at the University of Alabama. She is a professor in counselor education in the Department of Educational Studies, Psychology, Research, Methodology, and Counseling. She has published over 50 peer-reviewed journal articles. Dr. Burnham was a Fulbright specialist at Shenyang Normal University in Shenyang, China. She was the recipient of the Outstanding Graduate Mentor Award in 2020. She is also the PI of the Gandhi King Scholarly Exchange Initiative grant from the Department of State. It's a pleasure to host such an esteemed pool of dignitaries today. Without further delay, I invite Ms. Gupta to kindly proceed with the event.
Yes, so thank you, Kushi. Thank you for that introduction, and welcome to Dr. Burnham. Thank you so much for giving us our opening remarks, and it's a wonderful program. You know, the University of Alabama is they are the inaugural batch of the State Department, U.S. State Department's MLK Gandhi exchange program. So if you can tell us a little bit about that, and give us an idea about the future of this program.
Thank you so much. It's an absolute honor to be here today. I see a number of the participants. We just returned last week. If you're a participant, raise your hand. I see quite a few. I see Demetrius. I see Dahari. I saw Wilson, a couple of others on here, but thank you. And Royden, such awesome participants, and our deep pleasure to work with them. I also see Dr. Lisa Matherson, one of our faculty members. So we are a group of people that spent 5 weeks together, 1 week online, 2 weeks travel in the US, and we went to civil rights sites related to Dr. Martin Luther King. And then we had the awesome pleasure to be hosted in India for an experiential side of this for the past 2 weeks, January 1 through the 15th. I also see Sylvia Hollins on here. Sylvia, say hello.
Hello, everyone. I'm driving, but I'm glad to be here this morning.
All right. So anyway, the aim of the program was to advance civil rights, inclusion, social justice. And in that, we learned the strategies and about the lives of Dr. Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi, two wonderful people that set the tone for leadership and, a lot of training that we can gather from. So this was a very much a multifaceted leadership training program that applied the strategies of these great men. And we had 20 participants, 10 from 6 regions of India and 10 from the University of Alabama and Alabama A&M. So it was just this awesome opportunity. We felt that we received such wonderful, wonderful mentorship and training and ability to interact with beautiful people from India. So we are deeply, deeply grateful for our relationships and what we built a foundation on for the future. So again, deeply appreciative of our relationships and our future opportunities with the wonderful people from India.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Burnham. And so just to give you a little bit of a background. So today's event is a pre-parliament virtual event. And what that is the Parliament of World Religions is the world's largest convening of interfaith and diverse group of people who address issues of democracy, religious freedom, and human rights. And this is the same, it was founded, it's got a 130-year history, and this is the same one where Swami Vivekananda gave his famous speech in 1893. And so they are going to be convening this August, and from January of this year, leading all the way up to the convening in Chicago. We have, this event is being hosted by the Global Peace Secretariat, and I feel a special connection to the Parliament because I am based in Massachusetts, and I had the opportunity, the privilege of visiting the home of Swami Vivekananda's American mother, which was owned by a good friend of mine here in Cambridge, Massachusetts. So it's sort of got a personal connection to me with the parliament. And of course, my connection to Gandhiji and his message goes back way back when, because we grew up with those principles. My father took part in the Quit India movement. So I felt that, this is why I launched the Secretariat on UN International Day of Nonviolence, which is marked on October 2nd, Mahatma Gandhi's birthday, by the UN. So, I'm glad that we had an opportunity to do this. And to get started, without further ado, I would like to talk to and introduce Dr. Kundu from Gandhi Smriti, and Munaza Shah. She's a news anchor in India, and they both are co-authors of a book that I believe Dr. Kundu was asked to write to give it as a gift to this inaugural batch of the MLK Gandhi exchange program, of which Demetrius is part of. So yeah, and he's holding up the book. And so Dr. Kundu, let's start with you. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got involved with Gandhian principles, and then about the book and its message. You need to unmute yourself.
Thank you very much. It is such a great, lovely honor that I could be there with you all, Kumu ma'am and our co-host Khushi. It's wonderful to see Professor Joy Burnham. We spent quite a bit of time in Gandhi Smriti and also in the valedictory session. All our friends, Demetrius, I can see Wilson. Also, I could see that very, very senior from Germany, Dr. Christian Bartloff has also joined. It is such a great honor always to listen to Dr. Christian Bartloff. He's very, very active to promote the Gandhian movement in entire Europe. So it's such a great honor. Also, I can see many of the fellows who came over to India. They're there, and Sylvia, and I think Dharani and Ray Royden. It's wonderful that all of you are here, and I along with my friend and co-author Munaza, it's great that it's an honor that you are all invited us to have a discussion on this interesting book, Conversations, Pathways for Global Transformation, Conversations with Bapu. Well, you see, interestingly enough, we have been doing quite a bit of work on the whole idea of inner transformation for both of us, trying to reach out to people who might be in trauma, who might be having difficult situations. So how we can help with their inner transformation, enhance their inner resilience. So as a start, we also run a blog together, Voice of Soul, and we were planning to write a book on inner transformation. When we wrote a piece that was the first one of the chapters here on the Bengaluru floods and the Assam floods, and we wrote this as a conversational form. We thought, since we ourselves do a lot of conversation, we thought, why not have a tribute to Mahatma Gandhi, as we are now going to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the martyrdom of the Mahatma. So we wrote the first piece, and to be very frank, neither of us had any idea, even an inch of idea, that it would actually transform into a book. When we wrote the first one, and we shared, we put it in the blog, and we shared with one of my own guru, Professor Priyankar Upadhyay. Professor Joy, everyone knows Professor Priyankar Upadhyay here. He's a guru. So, in fact, I and Munaza had a long discussion when we had met them in August in Hyderabad, Kana Shanti Vanam, in this international program of heartfulness. So they are great inspiration. So then both ma'am and sir gave us a challenge that, fine, this is an interesting, very interesting style, a new genre of writing, conversational form. So you must finish 20 of them. And that too, they gave, you see, they gave us a deadline, because they said that this book we will give it as a gift to all the fellows who come as Gandhi King Scholarly Fellows. So that was a big challenge because both of us are working in different places, and as Munasa will share with you how also get it published. So we on that, and this is a book that we have been able to develop. Well, I can tell you, it is very important as we are celebrating the 75th anniversary of the martyrdom of Mahatma Gandhi. His ideas, his values that he propagated are more significant than ever before when we find conflicts of different kind, structural violence, different issues, dimensions of conflicts across different communities across the world, and also expanding from the individual level to global level and the present Ukraine war. In that context, non-violence and peace, and when we address the issues of structural violence, inequalities, and different dimensions of conflicts, the ideas and the values which the Mahatma had propagated it resonates very, very deeply. In fact, my own work, in fact, with Munaza, with Kushi, we have been doing a lot of work with people from different communities across the world, and we find that the ideas of Mahatma resonates across different communities. We work with people right from Kenya, different African countries, conducted a 7 days course, Spanish for from Latin nation on nonviolent communication approach. Mexico, Honduras, interest Mahatma in
Ms. Gupta, is Dr.
big zone in
Kundu's
the world.
voice cutting off?
I'm sorry.
Is Dr. Kundu's voice cutting off?
No, it's fine.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Am I
Okay,
The
please go ahead.
audio is disrupting.
Exactly,
Yeah.
it's disrupting a bit.
Still,
Yes.
is it still or is it better?
Yeah, it's fine now.
Okay, thank you very much. So we've been doing this work with this group in Yemen. Then recently I had this very interesting session with this group in Sudan. And when I asked them about the target audience of that online training program on Gandhian approach to nonviolent communication, they said that they are all followers of, and this person from Sudan, she said that she will put me across to people in Algeria and in other countries. So in that context, we do work with, I remember doing this program along with Kushi, with participants from almost 18 countries on the whole idea of conflict resolution, non-violent conflict resolution. And we had such amazing presentation from many of these almost 18 countries in one program. So there is an amazing possibility of how we can promote the Gandhian values, the values which Gandhi or Martin Luther King or other icons like Nelson Mandela and others stood for, in people together. The of human solidarity is more important than ever before, and that is something we need, each one of us need to work with. And for as far as the book is concerned, I think give greater details with all of you, and the whole journey that we had together and everything. I thought I should focus more on the values of peace and non-violence that needs to resonate in different societies. And as Gandhi said, that if we want to work for peace, we really need to work at the individual level, start at the individual level. And as he said, non-violence is something which should be made it should be as part of our daily habits. So how we can promote the ideas of non-violence is something very critical in today's world. So if there are any other question, we will have later. I think other speakers, Munaza, Demetrius, should get a chance to speak first before we can get and engage ourselves in discussion. Thank you very much.
Okay, so so Dr. Kundu, all right, we'll come back to Dr. Kundu. So Munazar, thank you for joining us all the way from Hyderabad. That's my favorite city. I love the food there. So so if you can also tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in this book and collaborating with Dr. Kundu.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having us today. And it's an honor to be here with you all. So yes, as Dr. Veda Vyas was saying that how we were starting with, we were working on inner transformation and we were working with various people. And that's how we had planned to, start with working on inner transformation. That was our plan, basically. So we met in Hyderabad and we had a discussion with the Professor Priyankar also. After that, when we posted our first blog which was about the Bangalore floods. And that's how this genre of conversation, the idea of putting a book together in this genre particularly, the style of conversations. That's how it came to us. But it's really amazing that how it happened, because as Veda Vyas rightly said, that we were not even imagining that we will be putting this together as a book, because that we had discussed about inner transformation, and we were planning to work on that first. And this is about our blog, Voice of Souls. We had written this conversation, Bangalore floods, for that. But so we got a task from Professor Priyankar to put together 20 conversations for Fulbright scholars. That's how it started. And also in our preface, as we have discussed, that we were discussing about this modern civilization that we are in currently, like what are the issues, the pressing issues that we are facing right now, and how Bapu has already given a message about the modern world. But as we have already, discussed this in the preface of the book as well, the Bapu has always spoke about, he has fought for self-determination, freedom, but he has said it's the freedom of the soul, it's freedom of inner self that matters most. The self-determination of the soul. It's about the soul, nurturing the soul, and the way he preferred, like the modern civilization. Okay, we are talking about the development, we are talking about the development of the areas, but what is it that we are really doing? Are we talking about the development? Are we talking about the moral high standards? Where is this modern civilization going? So this is how all these conversations, all these discussions started, where we talked about what is it that is not going right with the modern civilization. Where are we heading? We are having, with the modern technology, with social media, we're having everything, right now. We are talking, everybody is from different place of the different corner of the connect this.
Did we just did we just lose Manaza?
Where is
I
Munazar?
think
Hi,
so.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Where are you?
We can't see you, but I can hear you.
I think it says the host has disabled the video. Can you please look into that?
Let's see.
Khushi, can you please have a look at it?
Yeah, I don't think I've done anything here, but okay, try now.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we were talking about how we, got this idea of putting together all these conversations. So we were talking about the what merits and demerits we have of the modern civilization. And yes, we have technology, we have everything. We can connect to people across the globe. We are right now connecting with the people from different corners of the world. Brilliant. But what is missing there is the soul and soul to soul connection, the soul to soul communications. And that is what is lacking today. The truth which should be the superior to all, which is lacking today. And about all these issues, about all the pressing issues that we are facing in modern world today, Bapu has already given a message. Bapu has already predicted all those things earlier. And although his message, his preachings were very much valid at his time, but they are even today very much prevalent, and I think much needed in today's time. And that's what we were discussing. We talked about how important non-violence approach is, and we are not just talking about the physical non-violence. We're talking about the non-violence thoughts that we process in our, as Bapu has preached, it's about the inner self first. It's about developing and becoming a better person first. We talk about the outer world, we talk about the actions that we do outwards, but it's what we work inwards, what we work within ourselves is what actually reflects in the outer world. So for Bapu, that was the most important aspect of all. Freedom, self-determination, truth, all of that, and it is in here, it is within us, and that is what we have to work on. And all the issues, all the concerns that we have about our civilization today need to be discussed on that very level. And although we have so many pressing issues today, be it on education, be it on journalism, on the health, everything, every issue that we are facing right now, Bapu has already predicted about it. Bapu has already given a message about it, which was relevant back then, which is relevant right now, because we had to cover it up in 20 conversations, which is very limited to cover all the aspects of it. But we tried our best, and this is the first edition. We have tried to come up with the broader issues, and especially human behavior, human values, ethics, which need to be there, because we see and especially because I can say this because I'm a news anchor, I've been working as a journalist. So the hate speech, racism, we know how much social media has given a platform to we can call trolls or people to just spit it out, because it gives them a sense of security that we can say whatever we want to, and without a sense of accountability. So we have in our book, Pathways to Global Transformation, Conversations with Bapu, we have discussed about these 20 broader issues, and got guidance from Bapu. Bapu enters in the conversation, and he shows us the path that he has, given the message about back, which we can be applied right now, and somewhere we can get, a better understanding of how to get a society which is simple, which works on human values, human ethics, and leads to peace. Peace, there is no way to peace. Peace is a way itself, which is also a chapter in our book. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, excellent, Manasa. Thank you so much. So, so Dr. Kundu, so what is the meat of the book? Like, what has she covered everything, or is anything else left out? And then, also, I want to ask you that, what is the message that you would like the audience to focus on or to take home with them?
In fact, when we have been working together for quite some time, both of us, and we've been doing a lot of things together. So when we were having the discussions, like even though we are in different cities, we keep having such discussions over Zoom and also many times over the WhatsApp. video calls, and we do have a lot of insightful arguments over different ways on which how we can put together these conversations when we were working on that. But of course, through a non-violent way, we were arguing with each other on what kind of dialogues we need to put in. And we did extensive research. One is the most important thing about the book is that when we are talking, when Bapu is talking to us, essentially we have tried to cover most of his important works, like the autobiography, the Hind Swaraj, from the Yerbada Mandir, then speeches of Mahatma Gandhi, different dimension, different volumes of the collected works of Mahatma Gandhi, all men and our brothers, key to health. So wide, some of the major works of Mahatma Gandhi. So essentially all that Gandhi we are put in is talking about are from the different work of Mahatma Gandhi. Everything is referenced, everything is properly with facts and figures, and everything is referenced. So anyone who reads this book can do further research on those issues. Also, when we were trying to put together the preface, our initial discussion on the chapters that we are going to have, we had a very, very interesting discussions on like which chapters to have. Like we have covered issues as wide as something like the Gandhian values in the age of the metaverse and the algorithms. Very, very important because we are now entered the age of metaverse. Then we have the whole chapter on the hate speech. We have chapters on the nuclear disarmament, especially in the risk that is there in the in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Then, of course, we have the health, chapter on health, Gandhi's constructive work vis-a-vis prohibition. So almost like we have tried, and then the fundamental pillars of Gandhian values: truth, love, non-violence. So we have tried to capture. Of course, when we are talking, Gandhian ideals are so it's like an ocean. So we cannot cover in one volume and one book. We are looking forward to have more such volumes together, and we have started working on them. And so we have tried to cover quite a number of them. We have tried to make it as simple as possible so that everyone can really enjoy the dialogues. So that is also very, very important. In fact, I would, more than us talking, I think if Demetrius have read some portions of the book, he should be in a best position, like as a third person, instead of my friend Munaza and I talking about it. A third person who has read the book should give a better critique of the book there. And I was seeing even our my sister friend Sanchari from Pune, she has also joined. In fact, she is reviewing the book for a journal. So she's also there. So I think they are the best people to judge it and tell us.
Yeah, very nice. I think this is your first attempt at writing a book. So I think, is it?
No. I have got several books in my kitty, but I can tell you the first book which is co-written.
Oh, I see. Okay, very nice. So I think at this point, I would like to put in a plug for your course on communication, which you're nice enough to offer it at no charge, virtually from the Gandhi Smriti. And for those who don't know what Gandhi Smriti is, it's the place where Gandhiji spent his final 144 days, and Dr. Kundu is with Gandhi Smriti, and he has come up with a course on using Gandhian message of nonviolence in your everyday communication, at work, at home, in the community. So you can see the flyer and the contact information on globalpeacesecretariat.com. And so please, you can download it, you can take it. There's a short version, there's a longer version, and you can contact Global Peace Secretariat at gmail.com if you have any questions, and also if you want to get the book, how to get the book. Dr. Kundu can email, can let me know, because I have to get my copy yet because it just came out. So I'm in the process of getting my copy. so we can have a way to, let you all know how to get that book. So, so that's wonderful. So Kushi, do we have any Q&A as far as the book was? I mean, questions?
Well, I'd like to invite the guests to, okay, I think somebody needs to move their voice. Is it going along?
No, wait. So do we have questions?
No, in the chat box, no, but I would like to ask some questions from my side because there you go. We have a question from Charu. So maybe they'd like to ask a question.
Okay,
They've
so
raised their hand.
no, okay. So whoever wants, like you said, put it in the chat box. In the end of the program, you can ask them.
All right. So Ms. Charu, if you can kindly write down your question in the chat box so we can read it at the end of the program, that'd be great. And the
But
same goes for any other
chat is
participants.
disabled. I'm so sorry, but the chat says disabled. Sorry.
Oh, all right. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
okay. So it's okay now. Try it.
Okay, I see it now. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. So now I think
I think Kushi had a question for one of I don't know, or we do it
Yes.
yeah, but we are going to do all the questions
later.
at the end. Yes. So now I'd like to move on to our other very special guest, and also I'm very thankful to him for being part of this, because it was an interesting experience. I was talking to him when he was in India on this trip, and he was like, "Oh, I'm on a bus to go see Taj Mahal and all these exotic places," and still he was so responsive and so helpful. So I'm very thankful to our next guest, and that's Demetrius Barksdale. He's a student of the MLK Gandhi Inaugural Exchange Program of the US State Department. And so I just wanted to get his perspective on the book, and also importantly, want to know how was the program, what did he think about India, what all stops they made, what did he learn about Gandhiji's and MLK's message. And also I think he's got some pictures that he can share with us. So Demetrius, welcome. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your trip?
Well, greeting. I'm currently stationed in my hometown of Bruton, Alabama, and I find that it's very fitting that I have returned home to my roots with many memories internationally, and to be able to have this conversation with you all today. I hope everyone is doing well, and hope that everyone can see and hear me clearly. I am very appreciative of the authorship and all the many perspectives and the conversations that were shared in this text. And the time that I've had to review the text, there are many things that I found that were profound that I've noted. But one thing that I really, really have appreciated about this writing is, and this is something that I observed while we were in India, is Gandhi's way of inspiring and mobilizing a nation of people. It's unheard of for one leader to bring such a network of people together beyond religion, beyond dialect, and even in some ways beyond caste, and so or socioeconomic status. And so threads of solidarity, as Dr. Khandu mentioned earlier today, can be seen and heard through this text. And I really encourage every one of you, because I believe I see many of my fellow cohort members from Gandhi & King, which we already have the text, as well as some of my fellow cohort members from my doctoral program at the University of Alabama. I really encourage you all to get this text. But one thing that I really wanted to talk about here today was one of the first couple of conversations. It was written, this statement: seeking, valuing, and applying truth. Lack of truth can pollute or damage a generation of people, is a thought that I thought about when reading the first conversation of the text. And the first conversation of the text regarded, I have no God to serve but truth. And I think that even in this writing, we have to understand that throughout life, throughout generations, truth is challenged and truth has been polluted by which surpasses time and circumstances. So it has been defined in many different ways, depending on the individual who is advocating for truth. But what I value about Gandhi is Gandhi was able to stand firm in his spiritual truth. He was able to stand firm in his values that he possessed as an individual. And I believe that it is that we will be remiss as future leaders for us not to not only just cling to our truth, but I think we'll be remiss for allowing others to cause us to waver in what we identify as our truth. And so this text talked about how things such as like, for instance, I'll use this as an example, like media now, things are commercialized. So you can have, by the time you hear a story is developed and by the time it reaches media or by the time it gets to the general public, there are threads of different variations of the truth, right? Of the story. And so this is what I find that is so powerful about truth is that when it is unadulterated truth, when it is pure, when it is real beyond the test of time, it will be able to stand those tests of times. And that's essentially what I've gotten from that first conversation is that we should cling on to the truth and stand in that truth. The second thing I wanted to point out was the next conversation was centered on nonviolence. Nonviolence is a power which can be wielded equally by all. That essentially means that nonviolence is a power that we all possess and can possess and that we can use together. And as we use it together, it is a force to be reckoned with. And so when we were in India, we had a nonviolent communication talk with Dr. Khandu, which I thought was phenomenal. And I'm glad that we were able to sit in on that conversation. But I think that in modern day, we have encouraged everyone to have a voice. We have encouraged everyone to speak their truth. We have mobilized or encouraged everyone to be able to speak what they believe or to speak what they hold on to. But oftentimes what we don't realize is in the advocacy of encouraging people to speak what they believe, we're not teaching people how to speak, how to use your voice. And I think that ties into nonviolence, because as human beings, we can be violent with our behavior, whether that's verbal communication or nonverbal communication, whether what you're saying is hurting someone or the way that you're looking at someone or your demeanor, that can be impactful. And I think the message that is being sent by this text with nonviolent communication is essentially this, is we have to understand that what we possess internally is a power and a force that impacts the world beyond us. And so we have to understand when it comes to communicating or interacting or engaging with individuals from various backgrounds, that nonviolence is very beneficial and is honestly in many ways should be preferred when engaging in civil rights or just basic conversations with brothers and sisters or family members. Because at the end of the day, this Gandhi King program taught us that life is not just about us. We can glean from Gandhi's life that life was just not about him. We can glean from Dr. King's life that life was just not about himself. And we've had these many conversations with amongst our peers in the cohort is Sylvia Hollins, soon to be Dr. Hollins, she led a lot of our building block activities, which were leadership development activities. And much of what she was teaching us is threaded throughout this text. And essentially what our building block activities taught us is the importance of doing a lot of self-reflection, being self-aware, because we have to understand who we are and our place in society, because who we are impacts the greater society and the greater cause in which we're advocating for. And so that has essentially been the message that I take from this text. And that's the message that I take from my time in my experience as a Gandhi King scholar. In addition to the text, I'll share just a little more about my experience being in the program. There are three main things that I learned, and these three things were very profound in my journey. But the first one is, I was talking to Raj, and Raj is a PhD student in India. And he and I connected because we both are doctoral students, and we were just talking about the doctoral process and the dissertation process. And we were just talking about our research and, how it's going to contribute to the literature as well as issues going forward in life. And so one thing that he texted me after I left India, he told me, he said, D, I'm having a hard time existing after this exchange or this experience with the US participants and the other Indian participants, because I have now realized that love has no bounds and love is not respective of persons. And so that's the Gandhian and King life's message, is regardless of who you are and where you are, you are loved, and love and love rings true beyond the barriers. And so that was one of the number one lessons I learned. And I learned that through my relationships with my close friends and brothers like Roy and Wilson, through rooming together. There are different challenges that present when you're rooming with people from various backgrounds, right? But it's love that allows for you to be able to work out those issues and for you to be able to remain in community with each other. For me, living in the US, the best way I've learned that is through the life of Jesus Christ, is learning how to be able to love people and meet people where they are, and to love them through empathy, which is the second thing that I learned through this program, is that empathy is the key to advocacy. I don't believe that there's true advocacy if you don't have empathy. Empathy is the thread and also the foundation of being able to do great advocacy work. You have to understand your audience to effectively resource them and to meet their needs. So for me, what I've learned, one thing when we were coming from Ahmedabad, I was stricken with tears. I was trying to think like, man, we only have a week left in this program. And I was very prayerful and mindful of like, what can I do to give back to this community? And of course, me with my many thoughts, I was thinking, oh, I see a need there, and this is what I could do because this is what they need, and this is how I can meet that need. Or my thoughts about what they needed were somehow be beneficial to them. And I had a check in my spirit to humble myself in the approach of, you may see a need, but you need to know how to meet that need for the population in which you're serving. We cannot assume what others need. We cannot assume what is going to better their life, right? And so I think that as leaders, what I've learned through this program is that empathy is at the very core of advocating for people and for populations of people. But in order to effectively be a great advocate, you need to meet them where they are and understand. The third and final thing that I learned from this program was I had an opportunity to do a building block. Ms. Hollins gave me an opportunity to lead a building block while we were there, and I did it on leading in love. And I think that one of the most profound things that Dr. King and Mahatma Gandhi displayed, which has been mind-blowing to me, is they were able to love beyond hurt. It takes a certain level of maturity. It takes a certain level of integrity to display love as a leader when people don't support you, when your name has been slandered, when you have threats against your life. It takes a certain level of love when you are advocating for humanity, for human rights. And there are people out there who don't agree with you, who are attacking you in a violent manner. For you to, as this book talks about, standing in your truth, knowing your truth, girding yourself in the truth. And I believe that Dr. King and Mahatma Gandhi were some of the greatest representations of being able to lead in love when they were also hurt. Because I know from firsthand experience, I've done this to other people, and I've had this done to me many a times, is that hurt people hurt people. And as local leaders, national leaders, global leaders, or even leaders within your family, going back to what we've learned through our building blocks, we have to self-assess and become self-aware, because everybody on this Zoom today is a leader. But if we're not aware of our own triggers, or if we're not aware of or not assessing or processing the issues that we have faced in life, or people hurting us in life, we're going to go out and we're going to lead and hurt and do greater damage. And that's why I believe a lot of things that were related to slavery, a lot of things that related to oppression, a lot of things that a lot of leaders and hurt on other people, I think that they were not healed people. They did not address their issues, because they had personal issues going on for themselves that were never addressed. And we see from the lives of individuals such as like Adolf Hitler and even Klansmen and those four, they brought about such great oppression and pain to masses of people. But we also see through the life of Gandhi and King, lives are also able to be healed and restored through individuals just like me and you being able to act out and lead and love. And so those are nuggets and things that I took away from this program. I'll end here with, there are some one really enjoyed a lot was Gujarat Vayapath. I think that's how you pronounce it, but it's Gandhi's institution. It's in Ahmedabad. And it blows my mind because I am I'm finishing my doctoral degree in higher education. So education is my thing. And in my time there in Ahmedabad, we got to go to one of Gandhi's institutions of higher learning. And Gandhi, if you know anything about him, as you can see here on the cover of the book, he's barely clothed. He's so simplistic in how he presents himself, and how he and if I'm honest, in so many ways he represents the life of Christ, and how he presents himself and handles people. But what was amazing to me is seeing how that very simplistic lifestyle, that nonviolent lifestyle, that love for people and service to community was displayed through his institution. And I shared with Wilson and Royden while we were on the trip, and Caitlin as well, that as I think about American education and Indian education, or a lot of the educational facilities we went to while we were there, one of the distinct differences is that in Indian education, there seems to be this preservation of education from the standpoint of from a simplistic standpoint. So it's not necessarily about advancement, about getting more and doing more and being more innovative. It's about preserving education through simple means. And so I think that that's what's so beautiful about these exchange programs, is because there's so much that we can learn across borders internationally between the United States as well as India to push ourselves forward. And then lastly here, food and culture was another thing that I really enjoyed in the program. I am a foodie. I love to cook. If I wasn't in education, I probably would be an executive chef and own my own restaurant, because there's so much to be said and so much to learn about people, about culture, through food. And so when we were in the US for the 2 weeks, I got the honor and privilege of being able to serve my version of chicken tandoori to everyone with the help of my cohort. But I was really, really glad to be able to share that. But I know Roy and I and Wilson and Sean and Arthi and all of us, we all got to have great exchanges and conversations over eating masala and curries and all the rice and the rotis. And so there's so much to be learned and experienced through so many of the cultures. The last thing I'll end here, the most profound thing that I've learned while I was in India is this. There's although we are from different nations and different communities, we are not that much different because we are all human beings. And what I love to see was the relation and the overlap between Indian culture and history, from suffrage to triumph, and African-American history and culture. Because even this turban and this shawl that I have on my head here today, you see many Africans and African-Americans who do the exact same thing, as even down to the fabrics. And even in America, I know in India, this is called a jacket, but in the US, we look at this as a vest. So what I'm trying to say is we cannot allow our differences to further isolate us. We need to embrace this and allow it to bring us together. So I thank you all for your time today. Kumu, I do have the pictures. I wasn't sure if you want me to show the pictures still, since we're running over time a little.
No, that's fine. I mean, I think you're going to do just fine in education. What a superb presentation, rendition of everything, and the teaching is like a gospel. You know, you gave a very nice teaching in the morning. You know, it's a good way to, and it's not Sunday, but you know, because on Sunday people go to temple and church, but this is just as good. So thank you for that. And yes, absolutely. Please share those pictures, and then we'll come back to you. Then we'll do the second part of your interview.
Okay, would you like for me to share them now, or?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and briefly share some pictures here. So, okay, so as you all know, our program was the Gandhi King Scholarly Exchange. We're the first cohort, and I would like to honor John Lewis, the late Congressman John Lewis. This was his idea, and we were able to be a part of the dream coming alive. And so, as you see here in the bottom left, this is Dr. Khandu along with Dr. Anju and Dr. Priyanka. Sorry, I'm forgetting his name, but he was from an organization in India. And for those of you who may or may not know, this is Mahatma Gandhi's granddaughter, and we had the honor and privilege of meeting with her and having an exchange with her and hearing her stories of Mahatma Gandhi. And then, of course, there's Dr. Burnham, who is here with us today. These are my lovely brother and sisters. As you can see here, all of there are 19 of us present here. Eva was not able to join us this day for the picture, but such an esteemed group of individuals. And then here I am with the Gandhi King sign. This sign, we took the sign everywhere we went to be able to take pictures and just kind of capture the moment. In addition to it, the video I have here is not really working, but one of the symbols of India, and I think one of the greatest staples in India is and please excuse me if I pronounce it wrong, but it's a charka. And essentially what it is it's a spinning wheel. And this is the image here is more modern day. And so this is where they take material, cotton, and they create thread to be able to make clothing or different materials and items, right? And so really what Gandhi advocated through this is community. So as you can see, there are individuals from various backgrounds who are spinning. And what I love about it is Gandhi's simplistic lifestyle. You see everyone is on the same ground level doing the same thing, right? And so not only is this a community thing, but this is also beneficial to the economy, because Gandhi advocated for everyone to be able to have some type of economic mobility as far as means of being able to benefit society as well as provision for yourself. And then lastly, I love the simplicity of being able to create thread and to be able to use that thread to make different articles of clothing. And then here, the last picture I believe I have is going to be, it's a picture of Dr. Burnham, Royden, and I at the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And I'm not sure if many of you are familiar or not, but Edmund Pettus, he was a former Confederate general in the United States, as well as a leader of the KKK, or the Ku Klux Klan. And so in Selma, this bridge is named in his honor, which is beyond me, someone who advocated for such hatred, but it's still there. But I'm also in many ways glad that the name is still there, because it brought great joy that we were able to walk across that bridge, even though his name was there, in freedom. And prior to us being able to do that, back in the 1960s, I believe, is when they had the march from Selma to Montgomery. It was there were 3 different protests going on, if I remember correctly, but they were advocating, African Americans, as well as other supporters, even white supporters, were advocating for voting rights of African Americans. And so the charge was led there, where they walked across the bridge, and they were so brutally beaten on that bridge. It was a bloody event. But as we know now, we have the opportunity to be able to vote. But back then they were advocating for our constitutional right to be able to vote. And so that's why we wanted to share this video. But I think what is so encapsulating this image is that if we go back 60 or so years to now, Dr. Burnham, Royden, and I would have never been able to stand on that bridge together in unity and in solidarity. There's so much diversity that goes on in this picture. And my best friend back in Tuscaloosa, Nate Owens, he's here today too. He's a Caucasian male. And we would have never been able to be roommates or become good friends if it had not been for the advocacy or the efforts of individuals like Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. King.
Yes, so those are beautiful pictures, and I know you sent me some pictures from the Taj Mahal, so that was nice to see. Yeah, I've been there before. So one of the things in the second half, what I wanted to ask you is, because we just came off of Dr. King's birthday, the long weekend, and excuse me, and I had the opportunity to attend a phenomenal film festival from the Stanford MLK Gandhi initiative and or institute. And I would like to give a shout out to Dr. Matt, excuse me, who is the associate director. He's on this call today. He's attending, I can see, and also thank him for co-sponsoring today's event. So the thing that I was so excited about when I got your name is that because you told me that you grew up in Alabama and you are going to University of Alabama, and that is such a historical and a pivotal place when it comes to Dr. King's work. So I just wanted, if you can share what it was like growing up in Alabama, how does that influence your day-to-day life with all that history behind you?
Yeah, so honestly, I would have to say my experience growing up in Alabama has been a positive experience. It's been a good experience. So the high school that I went to, which is about 2 or 3 miles from the public library that I'm in today, I was very involved. White high school, and I was very involved in my high school there. It wasn't until later in my time in high school where I began to experience what I believe, not what I believe, but now what I know now was racism. And so that was something that was hard for me to process, more so because I didn't realize that it was racism until I was in college. And so that's one thing that I have been learning myself, is that when it comes to racism or oppression or hate or whatever it may be, a lot of these things are not even identifiable because people don't really know what they are. But by and large, Bruton, Alabama has been a place of growth, a place of learning, a place of love, a place of community for me. And I've had such great experiences here. Growing up, I spent the last 13 years of my life in Tuscaloosa at the University of Alabama. And so Tuscaloosa has my heart. That is the place God called me to. And I have learned and grown so much and built so many relationships there. But my time in Tuscaloosa has been great as far as growth and development as as an African-American male, a minority leader on campus, and also an African-American student on campus. There have been many instances and capacities where I've been the only African-American in classrooms, currently in my job as assistant director of professional development engagement at the University of Alabama, I am the only African-American on staff in my office in the College of Business. And so I share that with you because UA has been a tremendous blessing to me. And I'm forever indebted to my institution, but I also know that we have such a long way to go. And so that's essentially what growing up in the state of Alabama has represented to me, is that it has represented love, it has represented community, but I also identify areas in which we have to continue to grow and to change. One of the greatest memories that I have with Dr. King here in Brewton, Alabama, is honestly through some of the local leaders like Pastor Danny Benjamin and the late Reverend Willie J. Blue. They are instrumental figures, or were instrumental figures in our community, and they've done such a great job of exposing us to spiritual growth and development, but also the importance of African-American leaders in their place in time in history. And so I've learned a lot about my roots and a lot about Dr. King through leaders such as them. And so one of the greatest legacies that Dr. King has left and taught me that I learned here in Brewton, Alabama, is the importance of having a dream, but not only having a dream, but as Mahalia Jackson encouraged him, speak your dream, King, speak your dream. So not just having a dream, but speaking a dream, but now living the dream. And so that's what Brewton, Alabama has taught me. That's what the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa has taught me. And that's what the state of Alabama has taught me, is that beyond any barriers or any challenges that I may face is to have a dream and to live that dream.
That's excellent. That's so powerful. Thank you so much. And I can see that this program has a lot of promise, and it's going to go on a long way. And it's so great that we get to hear from the inaugural batch, and that is always the test batch. So it's good to see that it's working out so well, and I think that, of course, Congressman Lewis, you can't say enough about his contributions to history and towards the civil rights movement. Just a wonderful person all around. So all right, so we are running over, but that's okay. This program has legs of its own, so we're doing good. We don't have to worry. So Khushi, are there any questions from the audience?
Well, yes, I'd like to ask a small question to Ms. Munaza. And Ms. Charu would also like to go ahead and ask a question. So Ms. Charu, you can type it down in the chat box just so I can read it. Yes, and okay, so Ms. Munaza, first of all, it's really great to see you, because I've heard so many things about you from Dr. Veda Vyas, and it's just great to know that you have co-authored something so powerful along with my mentor. I'd like to ask you if there were any interesting moments when you were putting together this book, because I'm assuming that it took you a long time to put something so creative together. And how did you actually make up the questions to ask to Mahatma Gandhi?
Thank you so much, Khushi. Well, of course, the book itself is so interesting, and the whole conversations. The idea of writing this book in the genre of conversations is itself so interesting. So when we were working on it, we were working because Veda Vyas is in Delhi. I'm in Hyderabad, so we had to work through Zoom meetings, WhatsApp video calls. Most of our discussions go through Zoom and these video calls. That's how we discussed all of that. But when we were discussing, say we were discussing about I have no God but truth. For me, this chapter particularly is so very interesting, because this is something so powerful where we are talking about truth beyond everything, truth, even beyond God, truth being the God. So that very chapter is, because that's the first chapter, so it's always, as they always say, the first child is always very special. The book is the first child for me, but the first chapter especially was so interesting to put together. Those discussions, getting into these dialogues were amazing, to discuss it with Veda Vyas. And then, going back to what Bapu, we were going back, but Bapu was getting into our conversations, showing us the light, like this is where we are heading. This is what the way is. Truth is beyond all. Truth is all that we need. And as, if I'm pronouncing it right, Demetrius explained the power of truth. Amazing. He has correctly put it that the truth is beyond all. The truth is within ourselves, and it's the power of truth can change the course of history, and it's much needed in today's time. Also, he also give an example of today's journalism. I myself come from the same background. I'm working as a journalist. I'm a news anchor, so I get the whole idea he was, referring to. So I know that how important it is to understand the unadulterated truth. How important it is to come forth with the force of truth. So today, when we talk about the information, we have a lot of information out there. We are flooded with information, be it on newspaper, through television, social media, internet. We are really flooded with the information. But as there are trends of fake news, as there are trends of fake information that do much harm to us, to our society, there comes this understanding of the truth that we have talked about in our book, Pathways to Global Transformation Conversations with Bapu. And this is the first chapter that we are talking about. I have no God but truth. So this, I'm coming back to your question. The interesting moment are, all over the. This especially becomes the very special for me, and also the conversations when we were. It's like just how we were interacting, as we would interact over chai, like having chai pe charcha. So that's how we were going through these conversations. So we were discussing about certain issues. Alcoholism is one of the chapters in our book. So we're talking about alcoholism. It's how much it affects our society, our families, how much it affects one's relationships. So that's how we would discuss it, and then we would go back and recall what Bapu has said. A lot of research goes into it, as we have, we have given all the references from the autobiography Hind Swaraj. So there are all the references that are there, but that's how we, that's how Bapu used to come into our conversations and, bring that light in our conversations. So I think, yes, the interesting moments are all there. But if you will particularly ask me, the first one will be always special.
Well, that's great to know. Thank you so much. It's really an astounding development, and I remember when Dr. Veda Vyas told me that he was authoring a book, and it was so sudden. But to see it being realized now, it's just absolutely amazing, and I'm so happy. I I congratulate you both. We have another question by Dr. Charu. I'd like to read it. So this question is for Dr. Vedavyas. Dr. Charu says that Dr. King remains arguably Gandhi's greatest exponent in action of his curious to learn your perspective. That Ms. Charu, she had designed and taught a course on Gandhi at a university some years ago, and she stayed inspired by it. So can you kindly share your thoughts on the same? It's in the chat box.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Khushi. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Charu. It is a very, very pertinent point that you pointed, pointed out. In fact, how the apostles like Dr. Martin Luther King or say Nelson Mandela, they epitomizes what Mahatma Gandhi was talking about. Their actions, their thoughts, their principles reverberates the ideals of the Mahatma. And what is important today is how we can integrate, how we can work together, bringing these ideas, these values, into not only our daily lives, but also how we can work for human solidarity. In fact, all of us were talking about the whole notion of human solidarity, especially very, very important in the context of how we we have still in this whole realm of the COVID pandemic. The importance of solidarity becomes all the more important. How each one of us can touch each other's lives. That is so very important. How we can be more compassionate. How Demetrius was talking about the essence of empathy. How we can be more empathetic towards each other. So the teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King or the Mahatma Gandhi, or we have other apostles like Nelson Mandela and various other people. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Thich Nhat Hanh, or Dr. Daisaku Ikeda. So everyone. So we have to get the best of them. We have to learn from the finer points from all these people and actually try to put them in our lives, in our practice. Talking is good, but most challenging, most important is how we put them into action. And that is the key in today's world. Otherwise, we will keep on having these conflicts. If you see some of the international reports, Alert 2022 and other reports which talks about the increase of intrastate conflicts, also the whole essence of conflicts within. Recently, this very good friend of mine, Dr. Henry Yampolsky from the United States, he wrote this beautiful book on how to dissolve conflicts from within. So if I'm not able to dissolve conflicts from within, everything gets reflected in my outer action. So the inner peace, like as Thich Nhat Hanh had said, that peace within oneself, peace in the world. So we need to work for peace from within so that we can contribute towards a culture of peace in the world. And also, if you all of us know that this 2023 is the International Year of Dialogues. So more than ever before, I think each one of us need to do something to promote and enhance dialogues within ourselves. Like I and Munaz have been working extensively on this whole idea of self-talk and inner dialogues, the constructive self-talk and inner dialogue. So right from our inner dialogues to our dialogues in the community, how that can be constructive, how that can be non-violent in nature, so that we can have meaningful discussion, so that we can, even if, we are all human beings, we are all different. So at the end of the day, we will have different perspectives, different ideas. Our own perspectives keeps on changing, but how through constructive, non-violent dialogues, we can ensure a constructive solution to any kind of differences. That is, I think, the key learning that we need to do. Any other questions, please?
Any other questions, Kushi?
Well, there not any more questions, but there's a beautiful comment by I'm so sorry, Dr. Sanchari. It's in the chat box. It's for both Ms. Monaza and Dr. Kundu, and it's basically appreciating the way in which the book has been written in the form of conversation. So I'd like to frame a question based on that. I find the idea of a book which is written as a form of conversation very different, because I personally haven't encountered much literature which is in the same manner, in the same format. So what inspired you to actually write it in the form of conversations? If Ms. Plaza can kindly go ahead and let me know.
Yeah, sure. It is very interesting. And as we were, discussing about all these pressing issues, basically we started with our blog, which is Voice of Soul. So we were working on inner transformation, which we basically were working on that there should be dialogues, and there should be non-violent dialogues, be it within yourselves or with other people. So the dialogue, the understanding of conversations, the understanding of how important conversations are, how important non-violent conversations are, be it within your inner self or with people. It's very important. That's how it all began. How interesting it is and how helpful it is. I would like to put it like, whenever there is a conflict, how should we resolve it? How would be the best way to resolve any conflict? Through communication. We communicate and we resolve it. When there is no communication, there are altercations, there are repercussions to that, some serious repercussions to that, which we see from the very basic level, from the family, from relationships, to a global level, to between the countries, which face the bigger repercussions. So whenever there's a conflict within ourselves, within our soul, with our minds, what we need to do, what is the first thing that we need to do? We need to communicate, we need to talk it out, but we need to discuss it in a manner that must not be violent. Our thoughts must not be violent. uh, the motive, the crux of having a dialogue, having a conversation, is to get a deeper understanding of what is going on, so that we can reach to a level where we can resolve the conflict. So that is how it started. We knew that the inner transformation that we are working on will be very helpful, will actually be a transformation when we work on dialogues, when we know how to communicate, how to have a conversation, to have an issue, to have a concern. We know, okay, journalism has some serious problems today. What we need to do, we need to communicate, we need to discuss about it, we need to have a broader understanding of what is going on. So it started from our blog Voice of Soul, where we started writing this article about the Bengaluru floods, the conversation that we just started. We found it very interesting when Veda Vyas and I, we were discussing about it over a phone call, over a Zoom call, and we were discussing about these issues. We found it very interesting, like the way we are having conversation about these issues. It's very interesting to understand it. It's very simple in its nature, and it will be much more helpful to to be engaged in it, because it seems when we read a conversation, it feels like we are a part of it. We are not a separate or third person, third entity who's just reading somebody's opinion, somebody's viewpoint, but it makes us feel that we are a part of that conversation, we are involved, engaged in that conversation. That keeps the person interested in the conversation, in the book. So that's how the whole idea of conversation began, and that's how we thought that yes, it is very different, it is very interesting, and this is how we should work on it. This is how we should approach
Thank
the
you so
conversations with
much.
Bapu. Yeah.
Well, that's a great answer. I think it really responds to how I was thinking you conceived the book. Thank you so much. I'd now like to give the stage back to Ms. Gupta so that she can proceed with the program.
There is no other viewpoints from anyone. I can see Dr. Christian Bartholov is such a very, very esteemed and respected professor. And I think, to listen even a few words from him would be an honor for all of us, I think. So.
Oh, this is very kind of you, Mr. Kundu. First of all, I'm full of appreciation of your work, and I'm very glad to hear about this new book and your approach, which is fine. And I can only confirm that the inner dialogue is basis, the dialogue with the conscience. And as this Parliament of Religions also refers to the call of conscience, and actually the call to conscience both, it is a very interesting approach that there is, on the one hand, this global ethics with reference to truth and nonviolence. On the other hand, the challenge to defend freedom in the title of the Parliament of Religions. So this is certainly the enigma to solve, the riddle to bring about a non-violent change and not a violent change, to guarantee human rights and freedom. And I would like to shed a bit of light, not only on this global ethic link, which I already shared in the chat, but also to the fact that there is another pre-parliamentary event also with a reference to Gandhi. It's taking place at the beginning of February, and it's also an official pre-parliamentary event. It's Plaus Fratelli Tutti Laudato Si, but also if you have a look at the program, you find in the Hub of the Americas, Day 2, you find under the panel of Education for Global Citizenship, you find a reference or a kind of contribution by Dr. Sudarshan Kapoor, Professor Emeritus of University of Fresno, about Gandhi's legacy, Education for Global Peace. And I can share the link for you in the chat, and also mention that it's important to register, like for this event, and it's also mentioned in the official website of the Parliament of Religion. And I'm really grateful to you that you fill this dialogue between the world religions, dialogue of representatives from various continents, with the message of nonviolence and peace, and also remind us of the fact that we are in an international year where the dialogical principle is linked with our responsibility to promote peace on the level of the United Nations. So thank you. Thank you very much for giving me the word for a minute.
Yeah, Dr. Bartov, thank you so much. I know we converse every Friday on the Stanford call, so it's very nice to have you on and to have your comments. So we have come to the end of the program, but I have a special surprise for everybody, which I myself didn't know. We are marking the 75th anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi's Martydom, which is January 30th, but it also happens to be India's Republic Day on January 26th, which is the 73rd anniversary. And working on this initiative has been an absolute blessing. I've had the opportunity to, be in touch and stay in touch with Gandhiji's granddaughter, the one who is in Dimitri's picture, Mrs. Tara Gandhi, one of his other granddaughters in South Africa. He's got a lot of relatives all over the world, so some in America as well. So in celebration of all of this, I am so glad that Arun, agreed to honor my request and give us a special rendition of India's national anthem, Jana Gana Mana, on the violin as the closing piece. So Arun, thank you so much, and please go ahead. Sorry to keep you waiting so long.
My treat.
Thank you so much. It brings tears of joy. Just the beauty of this whole program, the way everything has gone, and the musical edition by Arun, quite a talented young man, if I will. I'm not that old, but I can say that, quite a talented young man. But it's wonderful, and please check out globalpeacesecretariat.com to see the work that's being done, and also you can check out the Parliament of World Religions website for more information about their event in August. And if you'd like to know how to get the book, if you could email globalpeacesecretariat@gmail.com. I can get the information to you from Dr. Kundu how to. It's going to come from India, so so the publisher, I think he's ready with the book, so we can get that to you. So thank you so much, everybody, and hope you have a great rest of the weekend. It's snowing here. We are going to have we had a lot of snow, and there's more expected, but I think in different parts of the world, it's it's a nice day. And thank you to Demetrius. It's so nice to hear somebody directly from Alabama, the home of where all the civil rights action started, and not started, but had a big part to play with Dr. King and the others. So, all right, thank you, and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Honored. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much for having
Thank
us.
you. Namaste from
Thank you.
India. Thanks, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kundu, coming all the way from Gandhi-smriti. What an honor.
Thank you. Honor to be with you, ma'am. Honor to be with you. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.